Welcome back. You are watching Global Digest on the ADBN. As ECOWAS marks its 50th anniversary, this Golden Jubilee is not just a moment of celebration, but also of reflection. Over 5 decades, the regional bloc has pursued integration, security, and economic cooperation across West Africa. One vital but often overlooked force in that journey is the media, and in recognition of this, ECOWAS launched its first ever Media Excellence Awards, honoring journalists whose work advanced the values enshrined in the ECOWAS Revised Treaty. It includes unity, democracy, and development. But joining me today is Mr. Raymond Enoch. He is the Regional Policy Analyst and Publisher and CEO of Paradigm News International. He is an award-winning journalist whose work stood out among hundreds of entries across the region. Well, our focus today is the ECOWAS Treaty, media integration, and regional significance. Hello, Mr. Enoch. It's good to have you again on Global Digest.
Thank you, Emma, and it's also good to meet you on the program.
All right, welcome. Well, congratulations on receiving your prestigious recognition. But I have to ask now, the ECOWAS Excellence Media Award coincides with the 50th anniversary and of the ECOWAS Treaty. Well, what does that mean personally to you within the broader context of this?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for congratulating us, the winners of the first ECOWAS maiden edition of the Award of Excellence, which was just concluded last week in
Gambia,
Banjul, the Gambia.
Yeah. And
it's really an exciting moment for those who are there and for the ECOWAS sub-region to re-echo once again its commitment and reaffirm its focus on the use of media as an instrument of dissemination of its integration message, and also as a tool for communicating its vision to the people of across the sub-region, its partners, and of course as an intergovernmental institution, it is embedded within the ECOWAS Treaty. So that marks the case of celebrating within the 20th and within the 50th anniversary. That's first and foremost. Then secondly, you ask how do we feel? Well, of course we feel excited, and we feel recognized, and we feel distinguished, at least among, according to the committee of juries, which said that over 200 entries were received, and only 12 journalists eventually scaled the jury judgment. And of course the chairman of the jury commission was also at the celebration, and he gave reasons why he defended the reason why they have to only select 12 journalists to begin with. So for the ECOWAS at 50, it is a very resounding message the commission is sending out there, that yes, it stands with the media shoulder to shoulder as a partner and as an instrument of communicating its vision for the sub-region.
Okay, so let's look at the ECOWAS Revised Treaty, Section 3, Subsection 2, Subsection 1, where it emphasizes the strengthening of relations between member states through the media. How do you see them doing this in supporting the media to contribute to that part of the ECOWAS Treaty?
Yes, if you look at also the treaty of, as it was reversed, which is 65, which talks about information, radio, and television.
Of course.
And then 66, which talks about specifically about the press. Now, it also says that the member states will collaborate within their member countries, their programs, share information, and how to also work within the sub-region. But going by the treaty as it is standing today, we will say that ECOWAS has really taken a first step by instituting the first maiden award of excellence for journalists, which will open a gateway for conversation as to whether or not we will need an institutional media within the West African sub-region as contemplated by Article 65 and 66 of the ECOWAS Treaty. But even at that, it did not specifically put whether or not we need a media house for the sub-region. And I think it is high time that the institution of ECOWAS begin to consider that into its focus. Now, be that as it may, a progress has been made in 50 years, and a first step has been taken. So we think, or I think, that it is high time that we recognize that the media is an institution, the media is a voice, and the media is supposed to be on the front burner of policy, driving the policy for economic integration, not only for economic integration, even for the political debate, which has to do now with the movement of free trade and other articles that accompanies the West African sub-region. So I think we are on the right step, and we only re-echo that call that was actually rejuvenated at the award ceremony, that it be carried forward.
Well, let's look at journalists now. You know, ECOWAS, as you said in your words, has taken the first step to try and recognize journalists and also better integrate the media into its work. How would you say journalists can better align their reporting with ECOWAS's goals on peace, security, and regional integration as outlined in the treaty?
Yes, this is where actually the objective of the Media Award of Excellence actually resonated, that going forward, the journalists should see themselves as a beacon of hope, as people who are not just reporting for reporting sake, but you are reporting for peace building and ensuring that the voices that is heard, it's seen to be building, mending fences, rather than serving as a divide. That's number one. Then secondly, the ECOWAS Vision 2050 connects with this, because in as much as the ECOWAS Vision 2020 is anchored in promoting peace and security across the sub-region, is also anchored on economic integration. It is also anchored on building social cohesion. But then this cannot be achieved when reporters chill out discordant report. So it is a call of duty for the journalists to begin to see this as an opportunity to anchor their reports within the Vision 2050 of the ECOWAS Commission, which of course provides also the responsibility of citizens to credible information and information that can serve as a bedrock of building unity rather than as dividing the people.
Speaking of giving out credible information, lately there have been calls to journalists across board, speaking of combating misinformation and disinformation in the media space. How would you say journalists can also work in combating this? Because we do remember sometime back in May, when the ECOWAS Commission presidents traveled from Lagos to the Seme border, there was the issue of, we realized while in speaking with people, there was the issue where people were not correctly informed about the ECOWAS Treaty, the free movement of goods and people, what that actually means. You know, so how would you say the media, journalists now, can make sure that the right information gets across to people?
This is where the role of the media actually comes in. Thank God you recognize the fact that in West Africa we have two major languages, and of course Lusophone, which has to do with Cape Verde and the other country which I can't mention now, but Cape Verde is one critical, and the Francophone countries are also dealing with that on their own end, and the English-speaking countries are also dealing with that on the other end. But then the role of the media creates an opportunity for not only just focusing on the report by the government or by the intergovernmental institutions, but also human angle of the stories. Like for instance, when I went to Gambia, I went to, after the media award, to bring the angle of the human stories, and we went out to the street to ask the ordinary people, what do they know about the ECOWAS Commission? Some voices were actually discordant. Some yes, they know about ECOWAS. They look at ECOWAS as a big institution that is dealing with government issues and all of that. Some also called for the ECOWAS to really reinforce its authority within the member countries to show that yes, they have a power to bite. But some also felt that they better concentrate on building their own lives rather than even concentrating on issues of ECOWAS. Some of the youth age of 25 and below who do not actually know what transpired when ECOWAS was created before then, and that shows the singularity and the role that ECOWAS media institutions need to play. And we are glad that ADBN as an institution is providing this opportunity to really see that some of these discussions are carried forward beyond just recognition at the conference halls, so that the citizens of the West African sub-region should be educated. What are the visions of ECOWAS, which is encapsulated in Article 3 of the ECOWAS Treaty that talks about objectives, major aims and objectives of creating ECOWAS as an institution in the first place. So having said that, so we are calling for our colleagues across the West African sub-region to institutionalize, or rather also put in place some activities which your station is anchoring, such as this, to be able to create the opportunity for educating the general public out there on the major pillars of the ECOWAS sub-region.
Okay, so let's move now to current tensions in the region. I'm talking particularly about the Alliance of Sahel States.
Yeah.
You know, their withdrawal has created a lot of conversation and discourse in the ECOWAS region. And of course, ECOWAS, the founding fathers of ECOWAS did not see this happening when they drafted the treaty. How important is dialogue, is the media in fostering dialogue, accountability and unity among member states?
Yeah, for me, it is very, very, very important that the dialogue should actually be the watchword. Okay. For instance, that was why when despite the movement of the EAES countries out of ECOWAS, which signifies around January this year, the ECOWAS president took a step forward by meeting the member countries' ministers of foreign affairs. That was after the celebration in May 29th. And what was it meant for? It was meant to create an opportunity for, let's see ourselves as brothers. In as much as there are issues, but then we can still talk on the table. And just last week, a maiden forum was established called Forum for the Sahel States, was launched in Gambia. The first forum was held and last week in Gambia, and the conversations were still going on to ensure that in as much as they exited by the treaty, at least certain window of opportunity will be created in so far as the wishes to reintegrate into the region. Maybe the treaty will be written in different language. But as it is standing today, we also feel that it should continue in that direction. One other thing that the media could do is to begin to cast a discussion on this, and I think your station is really has gone ahead. So, and we may do better than what we are doing, discussing within the time frame of 30 minutes. But we can go forward to really create an ample opportunity of dialogue to ensure that the AES countries, in as much as there are issues that is being discussed at that level, but then we can also do better. And I watched on the telly last week when the ECOWAS is inaugurating its business council, and they met with the ECOWAS president. So it is another opportunity, window of opportunities of conversation. So we can carry this conversation outside the May 30-minute discussion on the television station to really create an opportunity, whether through conference meetings or through dialogue forums, to ensure that we continue to maintain peace within the sub-region. And the media is very critical partner in ensuring that that is done.
Okay. Well, speaking of the media, what message do you think ECOWAS is trying to pass by, creating this media award?
One singular message that I think the ECOWAS has been able to do by passing across the sub-region is that of recognition. which has symbolic recognition of the role that media plays. And then secondly, trying to tell the journalists that yes, you are out there doing your work professionally, all of that, and we are not overlooking you. And then we are also trying to see that yes, certain things that you do is recognized and rewarded by way of excellence. And that is another second message. Another third message, I think, to my judgment, is that in as much as recognition, the role is created, but then you are also seen as part and parcel of driving the message of unity. And I think that was reaffirmed by the Chief of Staff of the ECOWAS President, who represented ECOWAS President at the meeting. And that was also re-anchored by, of course, the Minister of Information of the Gambian government, who declared the meeting open, that the media continues to remain a part and parcel of the building blocks of the ECOWAS sub-region, and that the voice of the media cannot be forgotten. And so that's what the symbolic thing that I see that came out from the Media Excellence Award.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a question kind of away from what we're talking about. You just said the voice of the media cannot be suppressed, but all through history there have been reports where the voice of the media, journalists who are trying to report on underreported issues, have been suppressed and marginalized and tried to be, belittled. Governments, agencies, and it's across. How do you think ECOWAS can work to help protect journalists as we're trying to do our work on our own end?
Yeah, I'll give you a practical example by what I had at the celebration that day on the 25th of July in Gambia. Now, the Minister of Information clearly said that years before now, the celebration that was held in Gambia wouldn't have been possible if not because certain autocrats have been removed away from government, meaning that the media before then in Gambia had been emasculated, a sort of. But right now there are open space for the media. In fact, there are other private media organizations that have sprung up after the ousting of the former President Yahya Jammeh. So it means that it is the character and the attitude of those that are in government that try to muzzle out the press. It is not the press that is not really doing out its duty. In as much as a journalist is ready to carry his work tool, to go out there to get the information disseminated for the people, but again, those who are in government who see the press as an opposition tend to muzzle the voice of the media. And but I think in West Africa, I think certain countries like Senegal, we need to applaud them, and I think it's good for you to know that since independence, it is only Senegal in West Africa that have not experienced military rule since 1960s. So you can see that the character of people that come into government determine the free press. But in as much as the press remains as the voice of the people, as the watchdog of the society, the government has been it's really been the bane of muzzling the free press. But I think it's commendable thing in Nigeria where you have the free press and the independent media is there. In the countries like Ghana, since Rawlings took over power, the press has been really thriving, and I've had cause to be at the studio in Accra to be interviewed by my colleagues, the journalists. But I think so far so good. In West Africa, I can say it is only some countries like maybe Guinea-Bissau and Guinea-Conakry that are still coming out of toddling of military rule that are not really having the press festering. But in Nigeria, so far so good. I can say that the media is doing too well, because for me, the online media has been recognized as institutionally recognized to really contribute, and that is even from that basis I was given the media award by the ECOWAS Commission. So I think so far so good. The praise is doing creditably well in West Africa.
Well, Mr. Enoch, it's always a pleasure to have you. But before we let you go, there is a growing call for journalists to engage more with the foundational documents like the ECOWAS Revised Treaty. Do you think it will change how stories are being reported in the West African region?
Certainly yes, because if you don't know the foundational treaty documents, how do you begin to write the stories? And it's not only, it's beyond also just understanding the foundational document. It also has to do with getting the voice of the people out there who also are supposed to be in the knowledge of the documents themselves. It's just moving it from the shelf and putting it on the table to read and all of that and tease out and put on your stories. But the people also need to know. So it is the responsibility of the media to tease out the documents from where they are, take it out for the people and try to know their views, and then that can be merged together to really see that the documents are speaking volumes in the life of the people within which ECOWAS Commission really governs.
Mr. Enoch, it's always a pleasure having you on Global Digest. Congratulations once more on your award.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for coming.
And it's my pleasure also to be around. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you too. Well, as you've heard today, the media is not just a mirror of society, it's a bridge between governments and citizens, between nations and regions. The ECOWAS Treaty was recognized back in 1993, and 50 years on, the Media Excellence Award has brought that vision full circle. Well, we congratulate ECOWAS and we hope to see more being done for journalists across the region. We're watching Global Digest on ADBN. After this break, we return with more reports from the African region. Do stay with us.